3D programming in libGDX is not as difficult as it sounds. In fact, it's entirely possible to develop complex 3D games and applications in libGDX with the right approach. Welcome to another libGDX tutorials. In this video, we are going to create this beautiful 3D carousel using the libGDX built-in 3D APIs. And you will see it only takes a few minutes with just a few lines of code. By the way, this video also has a written tutorial on my website, so if you prefer reading the text, check the link in the description below. Alright, let's get started. First off, let's fire up gdx-liftoff to create a basic libGDX project. Let's pick a project name, package name, and main class name. Then select the target platforms for your games. I'll pick core, desktop, and TVM only. Leave file any third-party extensions because we don't need it. Finally, pick a modern Java JVM version in your systems and specify the project location and hit generate. Once it's done, let's open the project in your IDE and test this. For me, I'm using NeoVim to edit and run the code right inside the terminal. Now let's adjust the window size to be bigger first, then run and test the project. To set up a simple 3D scene, I'm going to use an example template available on my website. Go to horizonsoft.com, click Examples, click 3D Starter Templates in libGDX. This will quickly set up a 3D scene in libGDX, which renders a 3D box with basic lighting and shading. First of all, delete all the code inside the entry class. Then copy the example code and paste it here. Let's fix these errors by importing all the missing classes and dependencies. Now let's check what we have so far. As you can see, in just a few minutes, we already have a working 3D scene in libGDX. Now let's go through the code and see what's happening here. So for every 3D scene in libGDX, you're gonna need at least the 5 components. A perspective camera to configure a view of the 3D scenes with parameters such as field of view or viewport ratios. A model batch, which is the 3D cousin of sprite batch, but for rendering 3D model instances. ModelBuilder, which allows generating of 3D shapes. This is optional, but we're gonna use ModelBuilder to generate a box set for our carousel items. A material specifies the visual appearance of each model, such as color, textures, and lighting parameters. An environment contains global lighting, which can be used to illuminate 3D models in the scene. If you want to learn more about 3D programming in libGDX with introduction to the basic theory and concepts, check out the tutorial on my website where I explain everything in great detail. So far, we have set up a 3D scene with a box inside it, but what we really want is a 3D carousel instead, so let's do it. First off, let's declare a few constants, including the total number of carousel items and the carousel radius. Now we can remove this red box and build our carousel model using ModelBuilder. Now to understand ModelBuilder, you can see this diagram. Every ModelBuilder can create a model using the build method. Each model can have multiple model instances, which are the copies of the model, but with its own transformations and material. Finally, to show each model instance on the screen, you can pass it to model batch to render it with an environment instance. Additionally, the structure of a model is like this. It has at least one node object which contains transformation data and visual appearance. Each node has one or more node parts, which consists of a mesh part and a material attached to it. So to build the carousel model, we can create a model with multiple nodes. Each node occupies a position on the carousel like this. Given the number of items and the carousel radius a constant field, we can easily calculate angle division as angle division equals to 360 degrees divided by item count. Then the position of each item can be derived using basic trigonometry inside a loop. Now that we know the math behind this, let's go ahead and try to implement our carousel. First off, let's adjust the camera position a bit so it has a better view of the model. Now we'll start building the model using our ModelBuilder. Let's calculate and save angle division first using the equation we have figured out before. Now let's make a for loop to generate the items. We're gonna make a simple material with a green colors. Later we can change it using texture material from images. For each item, we'll calculate the item angle and its x and z position using the equations we have found before. Now we can build a node and translate it to the correct position on the carousel. This line is a bit long and cryptic, but all it does is to configure a mesh part builder so it knows what parameters should be passed to the shader program, also its material and its box shape. Finally, we can call the end method to finish the construction of our carousel model. Also, make sure that you use model batch to render our new model instance in the render method. Now let's see what we got so far. And it looks really nice. One small thing I would like to adjust is the line direction. Right now it looks a bit dark at the front. We can change the line direction very easily here. To make the carousel rotate, we can directly apply transformation to the instance. Here we just rotate it around the y-axis. One final issue we haven't talked about yet is to use the real images as the texture items. So if you have a collection of images like this, you can pack them into a texture atlas using texture packing tool. Then load them into your code as an atlas file. Now you can replace the solid color material with the texture image region we just loaded inside the loop. And there you have it, the 3D carousel gallery in libGDX. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. See you next time.